More phone calls, 877-3DP Show. Operator Tyler sitting by to take your phone calls. Good morning if you're watching on Peacock. That's our streaming partner. We say good morning to the Arizona State head football coach, Kenny Dillingham, who had an unbelievable season, took Texas to a couple of overtimes before being bounced from the postseason. Kenny, thanks for joining us. How many times have you watched that game?
Too many. Way too many. Probably 10, 12 times.
But what are you trying to get out of that when you watch?
To be honest, just what tips did they have to give their players an advantage? And if we ever played them again, what could we do to give our players an advantage? I mean, nothing more or less than that.
Do you watch alone?
I do.
Do you drink beers when you're watching? I mean, can you have a little bit of fun when you're watching this, Coach?
Sometimes. Usually when you win, you do that. When you lose, you try to drown in the sorrows.
But what is it that you could have done? If I say you get one mulligan, what would you have done differently?
I would have had not called a timeout on the 4th and 1 in overtime. I would have let the play eat, and it would have converted, and I would have had a timeout to save for the 4th and 12 when Ewers checked out of it. Out into a cover zero beater.
I thought you were going to say something about the targeting no call there.
I can't control that.
How painful is that to watch? Because I thought you could have picked a penalty, either defenseless receiver or you could have done targeting, and they gave you neither of those. What do you see when you see that play now over and over?
I think I see the same thing that everybody sees. That's just, it is what it is, though. That's sport. There's missed calls. There's calls. There's probably 5 other calls in the game that nobody talks about that probably could have gone against us. So I don't like to use those moments as excuses, even though they're the big moments and they're what everybody should talk about, because people only talk about the big plays, the big moments, the big no calls, the big made calls, whatever it is. But there's a lot of things I could have done better to help our football team.
If Ryan Day reached out to you today and said, hey, got any tips for me facing Texas, what would you tell him?
Yeah, I would tell them they're very physical on the perimeter. They're really good tacklers. And I think that's a great skill. I think it's one thing you see on tape, but like when you see it live, the size and the tackling ability, it's different. Then I would say you have to have an ability to check when Quinn Ewers checks. You can't let Quinn Ewers check Texas into good football plays and not change the look. So you better create a mechanism defensively to check when he checks.
Okay, explain how you then can counteract when Ewers is going to check and change the play. Then what is your job?
So you can have like a dual call. So basically you say we're going to run field blitz and we're going to run cover 4. And if the quarterback checks, then we're going to change from our field blitz call to automatically changing to cover 4. So he made a check based off of field blitz, and he wants the perfect play versus that. We're now going to a complementary call. So having a way, just like offenses have a way to, when you hear kill, and the quarterback say that, he's changing calls based off the look. Same thing for a defense.
But the 4th and 13 touchdown, did he check out of something?
He did. He checked out of a call in which we felt really good about what we were doing into a call later on the clock. And, he did an unbelievable check, and then they executed really well.
What did you think of the Notre Dame-Penn State game?
Unbelievable game. I think Marcus Freeman's an absolute stud of a human being. I've been going versus him since I was at Florida State when he was the defensive coordinator, and he was a phenomenal coach then. And I think the way he leads people, I think you can see his guys play really hard.
Do you have a clock management guy? Like Marcus Freeman has a guy right next to him. Do you have a guy whose only job is to give you clock management?
I did. It was Matt Butterfield. He just took the full-time special teams coordinator job, though elsewhere. So I'm hiring. So if you ever want to hang it up and be our clock management guy, let me know.
I like the colors and I like the climate. I just don't know what it pays.
Not what you make. I'll tell you that much.
He's the Arizona State head coach, Ken Dillingham, joining us on the program. I'm going to ask Bill Cowher about this. We see this with Dan Campbell, other coaches. They create a culture. it feels like you're creating a culture, but I don't know how you go about creating that culture.
Yeah, I think for us, we pick our players, right? We recruit our players. So for us, it's recruiting guys that are like-minded. Our three pillars of our program are be a good person. It's very simple to be a good person. Make good decisions. It's very simple to make good decisions, and then have more fun working harder than anybody in the country. So what is our culture? We better recruit to people that when they walk around the building, they have a smile on their face. They're excited to be here. They crack a joke. They have personality, because I really think when you get people around you that have personality, you wake up and you may have a down day and that person is going to lift you higher than you would have been. And that's the culture we're trying to create.
First time you see Cam Scatterbo, your response is, your reaction is what?
Man, this dude had all those yards. He's an underdog. There's a reason for it. But what he's done to change his body and to change who he is, just as a physical specimen, he's the strongest he's ever been, least body fat he's ever had, fastest he's ever been, mindset's better than it's ever been. He went from a really, really good football player to somebody who was top 5 in the Heisman vote, and I think he should have been higher.
But so that confidence of just kind of loading him up and just say, go. Like he knows he's going to get, we talked to him after the loss and he said, look, I know I'm going to get hurt. I know it's going to hurt, but I'm going to hurt you as well. Like that kind of physicality. And he said Marshawn Lynch is sort of, one of his idols, or who he runs like.
Yeah, I think Scat just has that mindset. He gets he's the nicest kid off the field, super intelligent. People think his play style, oh, he's crazy. Scat is incredibly intelligent, high IQ. And for him to flip a switch into this, like, no way anybody can stop me mode. And does that mean he's always not going to be stopped? No. Nobody in the history of sports ever been invincible. But it means he believes it so much that he's going to make plays that people are like, what just happened? And every day for the last 700 days or whatever, 780 days I've coached him, he has done something at practice or in a game that I'm like, what just happened? That is incredible.
How often do you go to an opposing team's stadium and people question if you really are the head coach at Arizona State?
Oh, the way easier question. How often does that not happen? I look 12, so it's, when I walk around, it's just part of it. I've been young my whole life, though. I started coaching at 17, so I'm very used to the fact. I get stopped trying to walk into the field before the Peach Bowl. They're like, you need credentials, go back and get them. And I do it. At the end of the day, people are doing their job. So people don't really recognize me. I appreciate it. Hopefully I look young when I'm older. You know what I mean? And people will be jealous. But right now, it's just part of it.
What do you expect to happen tonight between Texas and Ohio State?
I haven't watched enough Ohio State to give like a really, really good opinion. I know Texas is going to be really good on defense. I know they're not going to give up big plays. So I think the key to Ohio State, I think the key to the game is, how do you stop Ohio State and one of the best wide receivers in college football in a long time? And you can't just double team them, because Ohio State's too good to do that. So what are you doing to get the quarterback to think he's double teamed, move his eyes off of him, but him really be singled up? And I think that's one of the hidden things in the game, is the deception of him being doubled. Can you do that enough to single him up and get your hats elsewhere for Texas? And if they can, I think they're both really good football teams.
By the way, when we had Cam on, he said he checked out of that halfback option. That I think he said your quarterback said he was banged up, don't throw me the football, and so he changed the play. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. I saw it live and in person, baby. And on 4th and 2 in the fourth quarter. So that was exciting. But he's the same dude that punted for us last year and checked out of a punt versus USC and did this and signaled a wideout to run a slant and threw it to him for a first down. Same dude that caught a toss, scrambled backward 97 yards, realized he was going to lose yards and threw the ball away. His football IQ and his savviness is unbelievable for his style of play.
You strike me as a pregame speech guy.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually don't give pregame speeches. Our players give pregame speeches. This is a player-run program. Our players give the pregame. Our players make the decisions. I am literally a surrogate between the leadership council and the players. And my job is to help the leadership council make the best decisions for the football team. But I do not run the show here. Our players run the show. I just help them get to the best decisions, in my opinion.
Well, like, is there a cutoff point of what they're allowed to do and say? Like, do they have total autonomy here?
I mean, if they're going to do something that is bad, I'm going to say, no, we're not doing that. But if I say, do you guys think we should do this or this? And I give them options and they vote, I'm doing what they vote for. If they say, hey, we need a Monday off, we're tired. And I say, you guys know what the repercussions of this are, right? It means Tuesday has to be this high. You guys have to elevate Tuesday to another level. And they say, yes. I'm like, okay, Monday's off. I firmly believe in extreme ownership, especially in today's day and age. And to get a team buy-in, you need team commitment, team ownership. And I think that was one thing, our leadership council, the decisions they made, and they could push the team to further, my opinion, further than we thought we could go, or people thought we could go, because there was such buy-in, because it was team decisions, not a head coach saying, we're going to go out and practice for 2 hours and 30 minutes today in November. It was the leadership council saying, hey, we talked to coach. This is why we need to practice for 2 hours and 30 minutes today.
Wait, when did you learn? How did you learn this?
I just believe in trusting people. I mean, I shouldn't say this, but I leave my car unlocked. Like, my wife hates it. I just believe in people. I truly believe that if you give people the keys, if you truly empower people, and if you get the right people around you and you trust them and you believe in them, right, and you empower them, they're going to be better versions of themselves. And that empowerment is going to take you as a unit higher than you could ever go by me saying, run 100 yards.
Okay, if your car is gone by the end of the day, do not blame me.
I'm going to lock it now. I'm going to have to change my entire theory on not locking my car now, because I just exposed that.
Congratulations on all this success. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach. Coach Kenny Dillingham, Arizona State, second season, and they were 3-9 first season, 11-3 in season 2. I could buy into that.
Did we just get a new favorite coach?
I think so.
I feel like we might have.
He's there.
Let's go.
I thought that was great.